My community is a place of wellness for the dreamers, creators, writers, and healers. Today's story is for the artists, photographers, gardeners, readers, cooks, and bakers. Today's story is for the storytellers and teachers, and those who uphold our humanity. Today's story is encouraging you to find your voice and to reinvent yourself. We are always evolving. I want to talk today about finding your voice because it's it's really hard. And I listened to some of the episodes that I did really early on in my podcast, like even if I go back and listen to episode 37, where I talk about my first radio failure and dropping out of a radio contest that did not go the way that I imagined. I'm like listening to that person speaking, and even though it was only me just a little over a year ago, I'm like, oh, she sounds so scared and so timid. And, it takes a long time to develop our artistry in different ways. And, if you follow artists like musicians or painters or authors, their voice changes. And I think it's a really beautiful thing because, we have to evolve and we have to have a sound that changes because we are changing. And so if you listen to say episode 1 of mine and then episode, 30 or 40 and then episode from last month, those are all going to sound like different Rainas. And it's because they are. Even thinking about, how they'll offer different things in their life, right? So they'll go through phases where, for instance, they're offering, okay, this is a book that I wrote. And then, the next year it's like, now I have a clothing line. Now I have this, now I have that. I mean, I could go through so many different iterations I've had as Raina under the umbrella of wellness. And that has meant different things to me at different times. So, really early in my practice, I was like 100%, I'm a holistic nutritionist. I'm an RHN, a registered holistic nutritionist. That's what I do. Then I started developing my kombucha, and then people started to ask to buy my kombucha. So then I created a line of kombucha. It was the Okanagan's first organic kombucha. It was in wine bottles, and it was certified. It was so much work to go through all of that. It was beautiful local herbs and flowers and colors and juices, so much from local farms. And experienced kombucha was such a special way for me to get my medicine to people in a drinkable format. And people would say that to me. They would say, I feel really, really good when I drink your kombucha. It's not like the stuff in the stores. And that's because it was made by me. It had my medicine in it, right? It had my energy in it. It had my passion in it. And my prayers, my wishes that the people drinking it would feel energized, would feel happier, and not only getting the benefits of the probiotics and, not just the physical benefits, but that they would feel mentally healthier after taking my product into their body. And that magic worked, and people could feel that. Fast forward to 2020, I stopped making experienced kombucha available, and I started turning my focus more towards food sovereignty because that was highlighted as such a massive problem. We saw how much the food system collapsed and could not keep up when we had breaks in the chain, and we had to rely on local, and we had to think differently, and we had to rely on our local community, and we had to share. And so I created Eat the Counterculture. And Eat the Counterculture was a movement that I had. It wasn't a business. It was still me consulting, but it was the movement underneath my consulting. It's like once we get people away from diet culture, once we get people to understand what back to the land means and healing their body holistically and taking care of themselves, well, the next natural step is for them to understand the local food system and how to support local and how to start growing their own for food sovereignty and understanding how the food system works and how they can contribute to a better one with really simple tweaks like shopping at the farmer's market when you can. Eat the counterculture became a way for me to display the movement or the fight, if you will, underneath my work. And Eat the Counterculture was really fun. I mean, I had stickers. I had so much fun with Eat the Counterculture. I loved the play on words. I've used the title in my book. Like it's very special to me. And Eat the Counterculture, I had a page on Facebook of really awesome memes. I had fun with it. And some really big pages really liked my names. They really liked my memes. And what happened on Facebook at that era in my life when I was still using social media a lot was if you put in the effort and the time and you do enough posts and bigger pages see you and recognize you and they share your posts, then your posts get a lot of their people's views. So that page grew so quickly. In the span of less than a year, it grew to over 10,000 followers. And it was mind-blowing. But then I also realized that a lot of the followers on there weren't locals. And a lot of the followers on there didn't understand what the movement was. They just liked the memes. And I was making t-shirts for Eat the Counterculture and having so much fun with it. But because of the sort of disillusionment that I went through around social media, I realized that I needed to be doing more work in my very near community in the Okanagan. And so I shifted my focus back to my practice and went under just my name, Raina Dawn Lutz, and started focusing more on in-person events out on the land, experiences for people. And, I had offered some online programs and they were, beautiful ways for people to be able to connect with me who couldn't see me in person, but still wanted to do the work. But I found that I really enjoyed doing speaking. I really enjoyed doing in-person events, and people love getting sessions from me, but they love getting sessions in person as well. And so I couldn't just only be an online presence. I had to sort of shift my focus and realize, I need to be in front of people speaking and bringing my message to them and bringing my medicine to them in person. Through I'll call it adventures that I went through and all of my rites of passage and initiations that I went through, as a writer, as an artist, we crave these weird and strange experiences, right? We don't, and maybe you relate to this as a creative person, that you don't necessarily love the norm. You want to be out there and doing different things and having experiences as a human. And so it became really important to me to start offering really unique experiences for people where I could bring in my medicine and teachings, but also make it accessible and fun. And, there's a billion nutrition programs out there. So I had to really niche myself. And so blending medicine work and food is a very, very specialized niche thing. But now I have so many years of experience in it, I can really bring, my magic into it. And that's where it becomes fun and it stops feeling like work. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So that's how I started to figure out what my voice was and all of the things that I bring to my practice. It's not enough to say that I do healing work. It's not enough to say I have a background in holistic nutrition. Even all the titles that we put on ourselves, like I'm a writer, I'm a podcaster, I'm a speaker, having those labels, it tells what we do, but it doesn't tell how we do it. And so I've really found that putting myself in really uncomfortable positions where I am forced to find my voice because there's a lot of eyeballs looking at me and ears listening to me, that I've really been able to step into what my voice is. And I have found that in the last 6 months, even having more speaking opportunities and having opportunities to speak in front of hundreds of people, that you're forced to find your voice, but it has been a long journey to get here. And I'm really grateful that I had, radio experience and I had Toastmasters experience and I had all of these things in my back pocket that at the time I was doing them, I wasn't really exactly sure why I was there. But looking back now, I can kind of see, oh, okay, I got that experience. So, then doing this, having this chance given to me in this year actually feels okay. It feels okay for me to step into that because I've done the work to get there, right? Like these opportunities they're not just handed to you just because. They are experiences that you've earned based on things that you did in your past. And so, with the conversation of finding your voice, I think it's really important to remember taking one step that might not feel exactly like the right thing is still a step. And that's really important to remember because, as we're growing and developing ourselves or our business, there's going to be things that we try. And it might be something that we get to try so that we can realize, oh, actually, I realize that's not what I want to do, Like I had really early on in my practice, I got asked to come and speak to a group of athletes about sports nutrition. And I did it, but I didn't love it. And so it was an opportunity for me to realize, yeah, I don't want to focus on sports nutrition. That's not my specialty. And there are people out there that are so passionate about it and so good at it. And it would be silly for me to take opportunities that should be going to those people that have way deeper resumes of experience in that area. Finding our voice is important. Allowing ourselves to evolve is important. And letting those moments come where we, have a chance come to us and we can say, yeah, I'll try that. Even though I might not know what's on the other end of it, right? If I'm being given the opportunity, it's probably something that I should try and see how it feels and just try it on. And that's part of finding our voice, is being able to try on these different things. As we walk through our life, we get to try on different masks and find out who we are. What does this one feel like today, right? Every day we have a chance to become a different person and a better person from the day before. And to me, that is so exciting, right? That's a beautiful thing. I wish you all the best. I wish you the best of luck as you work on finding your voice, whether it's coming through in speaking, in writing, in your art, whatever you're doing that is your passion, that is your message. Just keep going because people are listening and people are appreciative of what you do. And I think that part of this conversation needs to include the fact that finding our voice is part of reinventing ourselves. And reinventing ourselves is key. If we don't reinvent ourselves, we're just going to be repeating the same old patterns. If we're not prioritizing self-development and growth, we're just going to stay stuck. And, I have a really tight circle. I have amazing mentors, many of them being, 60, 70 plus. And last year, I got a message from one of them commenting and calling me Madonna and saying, I've seen you reinvent yourself time and time again. And he was just acknowledging me for all that work, energy, and inspiration. And so it felt really good to be seen as someone who's constantly growing and constantly reinventing the self and being a leader in that, because it is scary, and it's scary to let go of our old self and step into something new. When we make these powerful decisions, even when we're wading through the muck and doing the work, but being conscious and aware about it, it's important to remember not to outsource our power, right? So this is part of my work, is that I empower people to move and make changes so that things aren't stagnating. So whatever you're doing, wherever you're at with your journey in finding your voice as a creative person, I just, again, remind you and encourage you, it's one step at a time. The reinvention process isn't fast. And, this is, in our culture where it's hurry, 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 now, fast, fast, fast. That's not how we become our best self. That's not how we reinvent ourselves. It doesn't happen in an hour. It doesn't happen after a 1-hour course. It happens with our lifetime and our body of work shifting as we shift and evolve. I really hope that this was helpful for you today. I encourage you to keep making those steps and keep working on yourself and looking inward, because every time you do that, you're able to help more people in the world. And that is the best work out there. Thank you so much for listening today.